Hello, welcome to Mysterious Divinos podcast. Today, we're stepping back in time into one of the most mysterious rituals ever recorded, a ceremony performed just once a year on the holiest day, where the fate of an entire nation literally hung in the balance, all tied to the destiny of two identical animals. So picture this. You have two goats. They look exactly the same. One is chosen to die, its blood a key to enter God's presence. The other is sent away, still alive, but carrying the weight of an entire year's worth of wrongdoing. This isn't just some old story, you know? It's like a shadow, a symbol pointing to something way, way bigger. And that's exactly what we're going to unpack.
And the stage for all of this? It's Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement. Now, this was the single day of the year when that barrier, that veil separating humanity from the direct presence of God, could actually be crossed. It was all about dealing with the big problem of sin, the very thing that created the separation to begin with. And right at the heart of it all were these two goats. So let's get to know our two main characters here. On the surface, you couldn't imagine two more different fates, right? One goat faces a quick death at the altar, while the other is sent on this long, lonely journey into the wilderness. But as we're about to see, their paths are actually deeply and pretty mysteriously connected.
Okay, so here's how it worked. They would cast lots to decide the fate of each goat. One lot was for the Lord. That goat became the sin offering. Its death paid the price. But the second goat, its lot was for Azazel. Now that's a really mysterious name. Some scholars think it refers to a demon in the wilderness, others just a desolate place. Either way, this goat becomes what we now call the scapegoat. And its job? Well, its job is totally different. And this, right here, is the central question of the whole ritual. I mean, think about it. If the first goat's death pays for sin, why do you even need the second one? What could it possibly do that the sacrifice didn't already cover? It seems almost redundant. But in the logic of these ancient ceremonies, nothing is by accident. And the answer really unlocks the whole point.
The source material we're digging into today gives a pretty fascinating answer. It says, what if they aren't two separate ideas at all? What if they're actually two shadows cast by one single figure? Like two sides of the same coin, each one representing one part of a complete two-step solution to the problem of sin.
And the key to understanding this is a theological idea that honestly can be hard to get your head around. It's the concept that a perfect substitute wasn't just punished for our sin, but that he actually had to become our sin in order to remove it. This verse right here, it gives us the framework for that exact paradox.
And this is where it all just clicks into place. The first goat, the one that dies, represents the Messiah as the sacrifice. But the second goat, the scapegoat, represents the Messiah as the one who physically takes those confessed sins and carries them far, far away. See? One act deals with the penalty of sin, the other deals with the presence of sin. You absolutely need both for a complete cleansing.
But let's get specific. What exactly are these sins that were being placed on the goat's head? You see, the original Hebrew text is incredibly precise about this. It uses 3 different words. This wasn't just about some vague sense of guilt. It was a comprehensive list that covered every possible way a person could go wrong.
First up, you have Aeon. Now, this isn't about making a mistake by accident. This is the deep stuff. This is the moral crookedness that can live in the human heart, perversity, the intentional choice to do evil. This ritual was designed to deal with the absolute worst parts of our nature.
Then there's Pessah. This one is all about active rebellion. It's knowing exactly where the line is and choosing to step over it anyway. It's a revolt against authority, that conscious decision to just go your own way, no matter the consequences.
And the last word, hata, probably covers the category most of us live in. It literally means to miss the mark, kind of like an archer who just can't hit the target. It covers falling short, committing offenses, and maybe the most important part, those destructive, habitual sins that we just can't seem to break on our own.
So, when you put all 3 of those together, Aeon, Kasa, and Hata, you realize just how complete this atonement was. It wasn't partial. It covered everything from deep moral evil to active rebellion, all the way to our habitual shortcomings. The source makes a huge point of this. Literally nothing was left out. It was all-encompassing.
And here's where the symbolism gets really wild. The Hebrew word for the sin itself, hata, missing the mark,
is the exact same word used for the sin offering. Think about that. The offering becomes known by the very name of the problem it's there to solve. The remedy and the disease literally share a name.
This makes the whole thing so personal. If the name for sin is also the name for the offering, it's like ownership is being transferred. The sin no longer belongs to you. He is claiming it. To try and hold on to it would be like holding on to stolen property. It's not yours to carry anymore. It's his to take away.
So if the sins are taken away, where do they actually go? I mean, the ritual doesn't just stop with the confession. The final act is just as important as the first, the journey of the scapegoat deep into the wilderness.
This whole 4-step process, it was designed to make the abstract idea of forgiveness something you could see and touch. It wasn't enough to just say the words and confess the sins. No, the goat had to be physically sent away, led to a very specific destination, a place of no return, all to create this final, irreversible separation. And that destination, it has a name, Gezerah. The root of this Hebrew word literally means to cut off. It was an uninhabited, inaccessible place. The symbolism here is just so powerful. Your sins are taken to a place you can never visit. There are no visiting hours. You can't go back to them, and they can't come back to you. They are cut off forever. Okay, so the source material we're drawing from takes this ancient principle of casting out and applies it directly to our modern world. Now, we're just going to explain their interpretation here. The argument is that these same spiritual dynamics are still at play today, only they're happening in reverse. The concept that's presented is something the source calls a reverse exorcism. The idea goes like this. If a culture that was once built on Judeo-Christian values decides to actively cast God out of its schools, its government, its public square, it creates a vacuum. And according to this view, that vacuum is not going to stay empty for long. Specifically, the source links this vacuum to what it identifies as the return of ancient spirits, pointing to one in particular named Ishtar, an ancient goddess. The author then draws connections between this figure and a lot of modern phenomena, like sexual immorality, the breakdown of the family, the alteration of gender, and even linking it to symbols like the rainbow and the month of June. And this is how it all ties back to our original ritual. Just as Yom Kippur was a national day for casting out sin and breaking its power, the source applies that very same principle to the spiritual battle it sees today. The core idea is that anything that separates people from God, whether you call it a sin or a stronghold, has to be identified and actively cast out. And that really leaves us with a final, massive question to think about. We've gone from an ancient ceremony with 2 goats all the way to a modern cultural critique. It really makes you wonder, if a ritual this old can be unpacked to reveal so many complex layers of meaning, what other profound truths are just waiting for us, hidden in plain sight in the stories and rituals of the ancient world? If you liked the video, subscribe, leave a like, comment on what you liked most, and share the video. Thanks so much for joining us for this deep dive, and we'll see you in the next one.